The sky darkened as massive ships appeared above Earth. These were not ordinary aircraft. They were colossal vessels, glimmering with strange alien technology. The invaders came from a distant star system, and their race was known throughout the galaxy for their strength and advanced weaponry. They believed themselves to be unstoppable, destined to conquer worlds. Earth was just another prize in their quest for domination. As the first ship descended, a loud roar echoed across the cities below. Panic swept through the streets. People looked up, fear etched on their faces as they saw the dark shadows blotting out the sun. The aliens had come, and they were here to take what they wanted. The ships opened fire, and beams of light shot down, striking buildings and causing explosions. Flames erupted, and smoke filled the air. The cities of Earth, once bustling with life, were suddenly filled with chaos. Many people screamed and ran for cover, desperate to escape the destruction. Others, paralyzed by fear, stood frozen in disbelief. How could this happen? Were humans really so weak that they couldn't defend their own planet? The invaders laughed as they watched the chaos unfold. They had always underestimated humanity, believing that Earth was an easy target. To them, humans were nothing more than primitive creatures, unworthy of their attention. Among the confusion, a group of brave souls gathered. They were ordinary people, workers, teachers, and students who refused to let fear control them. As the aliens attacked, they quickly realized they needed to fight back. A retired military officer, Sarah, stepped forward. She had served in the armed forces years ago and still had the heart of a soldier. She shouted above the noise, urging others to join her in resisting the invaders. "Listen up!" Sarah called. "We can't let them destroy our home. We need to stand together and fight back." A few people hesitated, but then others joined her. They found weapons wherever they could, baseball bats, tools, even kitchen knives. It wasn't much, but they were determined to protect their families and their city. As the aliens continued their assault, the group formed a plan. They would work together to disrupt the invaders. Using their knowledge of the city's layout, they moved stealthily through the streets, dodging laser fire and explosions. They knew the aliens were powerful, but they also believed in the strength of human spirit. They were fighting for their homes, their loved ones, and their freedom. Meanwhile, the alien commanders watched with growing annoyance. They had expected an easy victory. Their weapons were far superior, and they had underestimated the will of humanity. The more they attacked, the more the humans fought back. They began to realize that the chaos they caused only made humans more determined. The alien leaders ordered more bombardments, believing that fear would crush any resistance. But fear can be a double-edged sword. It fueled the fire inside the hearts of humans. As they witnessed their cities being destroyed, anger replaced fear. They were not just fighting for survival, they were fighting for their future. Every explosion became a rallying cry, every scream a reminder of why they needed to resist. In the midst of the destruction, Sarah and her group became symbols of hope. They gathered more people, building a small army of ordinary citizens who refused to give in. They weren't just facing the aliens, they were standing up for humanity. Their bravery sparked a flame of resistance that began to spread through the city. As night fell, the battle raged on. The humans might have been outnumbered, but their hearts burned bright with defiance. They were no longer just victims of an invasion, they were fighters ready to reclaim their world. Little did the aliens know that this was just the beginning. The humans would soon prove that they were far more than they seemed. The fight for Earth had only just begun. As the battle for Earth raged on, the initial chaos slowly transformed into something more organized. The people who had gathered to resist the alien invaders realized that they needed a plan. Fear and panic were giving way to determination and hope. Sarah, the retired military officer, stepped into a leadership role, rallying the fighters and instilling a sense of purpose in everyone. "Listen up, everyone," Sarah called out as she stood atop a pile of rubble. "We've been hit hard, but we are not defeated. If we work together, we can take back our city. We know this place better than they do. Let's use that to our advantage." Her words sparked a fire in the hearts of those around her. They nodded, their faces set with resolve. The group decided to split into teams. Each team would focus on different tactics to disrupt the aliens. One team would gather intelligence, observing the aliens' movements and their patterns. Another team would create distractions, drawing the attention of the invaders away from the main targets. A third team would work on making weapons from whatever they could find, using their ingenuity to create tools for survival. Among the group was Marcus, a young mechanic with a knack for fixing things. He quickly volunteered to lead the team working on weapons. "We may not have advanced technology, but we can make some simple gadgets that can help us," he said with enthusiasm. With a few friends, he began to gather parts from destroyed vehicles and buildings, piecing together makeshift weapons. They crafted slingshots, modified pipes into clubs, and even created small explosive devices from household chemicals. Meanwhile, Sarah's team, now calling themselves the Defenders of Earth, began gathering information. They would move quietly through the streets, hiding in the shadows, watching the aliens as they marched through the city. They noted the weak points in the alien patrols, observing how the aliens interacted with their technology. It was during one of these scouting missions that they learned about the aliens' communication systems. "Look!" one of the scouts whispered excitedly. "They're using those strange devices to talk to each other. If we can figure out how to use them, we might be able to confuse their commands." This idea sparked a new wave of hope among the defenders. If they could disrupt the aliens' communication, they could create chaos in their ranks. With this new goal in mind, Marcus and his team set to work. They combined their mechanical skills with the knowledge they had gained from observing the aliens. They began creating a device to jam the alien signals, using scraps and makeshift tools. It was hard work, but the team worked tirelessly, fueled by their desire to protect their homes. As the days passed, the defenders began to implement their plan. They executed small attacks on alien patrols, using their knowledge of the city to ambush them. With each successful skirmish, their confidence grew. The aliens, on the other hand, were becoming frustrated. They had expected an easy victory, but now they faced a determined enemy. The tide was beginning to turn. One night, the defenders launched their most daring operation yet. They planned to disrupt the aliens' main base of operations. With the communication jamming device ready, they infiltrated the alien stronghold under the cover of darkness. As they approached, their hearts raced with both fear and excitement. They had to be silent and swift. This was their chance to strike a significant blow. Once inside, the defenders split into small groups to avoid detection. Marcus and a few others made their way to the communication room. As they worked to set up the jamming device, they could hear the aliens speaking in their strange language, their voices echoing in the metallic halls. It was a tense moment. With a deep breath, Marcus activated the device. Suddenly, the alien voices turned into confused shouts. They looked around, unsure of what was happening. The defenders had done it. They had created chaos within the alien ranks. As the aliens scrambled to regain control, the defenders took advantage of the confusion, launching their attack. This moment marked a turning point in the fight for Earth. The aliens, who had once viewed humanity as weak, were now realizing that they had underestimated their enemy. The humans were no longer just victims. They were becoming warriors. As the defenders continued to fight back, they showed the world that they would not back down. They were ready to reclaim their planet, and the spirit of resistance burned brighter than ever before. With the success of their recent operations, the defenders felt a surge of hope and energy. They had proven to themselves that they could fight back against the alien invaders, but they knew they had to be smart about their next moves. The aliens were powerful, and they had many advanced weapons. The humans could not afford to make careless mistakes. It was time to come up with a solid strategy to turn the tide of the war. Sarah gathered the defenders in an old community center that still stood, despite the destruction around it. The walls were marked with soot and the windows were shattered, but it was a place that felt safe. Everyone was buzzing with excitement after their recent victories, but Sarah reminded them, "We can't get carried away. We need a clear plan if we want to keep winning." One of the defenders, a clever woman named Linda, suggested they use the alien technology to their advantage. "We've seen how their weapons work. If we can learn to use them, we might be able to turn their own tools against them." This idea sparked a lot of interest in the group. If they could understand the aliens' technology, it would give them a significant edge in the fight. The group quickly divided into teams. One team would focus on studying the captured alien weapons and technology. Marcus, the mechanic, was excited about this task. "I've always loved figuring out how things work," he said. "Let's see if we can reverse engineer their weapons." With his mechanical skills and knowledge of machines, Marcus felt confident he could make it happen. The second team was tasked with creating traps and distractions. They would use their knowledge of the city's landscape to set up ambushes for the aliens. Sarah emphasized that they needed to stay one step ahead. If we can catch them off guard, we can weaken their forces, she explained. As the teams worked tirelessly, the defenders became more resourceful. Marcus and his team spent hours experimenting with the alien weapons they had captured. They discovered that while the technology was advanced, it also had weaknesses. "Look at this! If we tweak this part, we can make it fire much faster," Marcus exclaimed as he made adjustments to one of the alien guns. They began to understand how to adapt the weapons to fit their needs. Meanwhile, the trap team was busy gathering supplies. They scavenged for materials from the wreckage of their cities, old cars, pieces of wood, and metal scraps. They set up traps that would spring surprises on the unsuspecting aliens, such as nets to capture them, or explosive devices to create chaos during battles. Every defender contributed ideas, and soon the streets were filled with makeshift defenses that would give them the advantage. As they prepared their strategies, the defenders also realized the importance of communication. They needed to coordinate their attacks and share information quickly. Linda took the lead on this front, suggesting they create a network of signals. "If we can't use their technology, let's come up with our own ways to communicate," she said. They began developing a system of hand signals and coded messages to keep their plans secret from the aliens. The day of their next major operation approached, and tension filled the air. They had spent days planning and preparing, and now it was time to put their strategies into action. Sarah gathered everyone once again, reminding them of their purpose. "We're not just fighting for our survival, we're fighting for our future. Remember that as we move forward today." As the sun set, the defenders moved stealthily through the city. Their hearts raced with both excitement and fear. They were ready to confront the aliens head-on, armed with their newfound skills and strategies. The plan was to target an alien supply depot, a critical point that provided the invaders with weapons and resources. When they reached the depot, the defenders took their positions. Marcus stood with his modified weapon, his hands steady. He knew they had a chance to make a real impact. "On my signal, we strike!" Sarah whispered, her eyes scanning the area for the aliens. As the aliens began their patrols, the defenders executed their plan. They launched their traps and created distractions, catching the aliens off guard. Marcus fired his modified weapon, hitting an alien soldier and causing confusion among the ranks. The defenders moved quickly, coordinating their actions with precision. The battle was intense, but the humans were ready. They fought fiercely, using their traps and the knowledge they had gained. The aliens were not prepared for this level of resistance. One by one, they fell to the humans who had once seemed so weak and unprepared. As the dust settled, the defenders stood victorious. They had successfully disrupted the aliens' supply lines and sent a message that humanity would not be easily defeated. This victory marked a significant turning point in their fight. They had gone from being victims to becoming warriors, and they would continue to fight for their planet with every ounce of strength they had. The air was thick with tension as the defenders prepared for their most significant battle yet. After their recent victory at the supply depot, they had gained confidence. They knew the aliens were becoming wary of them, and now was the time to strike again. Sarah gathered everyone at their base, an old-school building that had become their headquarters. The walls were adorned with maps and drawings of their strategies. This battle marked a significant turning point in the war. The defenders had shown that humanity was not to be underestimated. They were strong, resilient, and ready to fight for their home. The aliens had thought they could easily conquer Earth, but now they were learning that humanity would not surrender without a fight. As they stood among the ruins, Sarah looked at her team, pride swelling in her heart. "We did it!" she shouted. "We took back what is ours. This is just the beginning. We will keep fighting until every last alien is gone from our planet." The defenders cheered again, united in their purpose. They knew the road ahead would be tough, but they were ready to face whatever came next. Together, they had become a force to be reckoned with, and their fight for Earth was far from over. After the intense battle at the Alien Command Center, the defenders stood in the ruins, breathing heavily and soaking in the victory they had achieved. The once bustling area now lay in shambles, but the sight of their fallen enemies brought a sense of triumph. They had shown the aliens that humanity would not be easily defeated. As the dust settled, Sarah gathered her team together. They looked exhausted, but their faces were filled with pride. "We did it! "We took back the command center," she said, her voice filled with excitement. The defenders cheered, a wave of relief washing over them. However, Sarah knew this victory came with a cost. Many of their friends had fought bravely, and some had not returned. "It's time to honor those we lost," she continued, her tone turning serious. "We need to remember the sacrifices they made for us." The group fell silent, each person reflecting on the comrades they had fought alongside. They gathered in a circle, sharing stories of their fallen friends, celebrating their bravery and spirit. Once the somber moment passed, they started to think about what came next. The alien threat was still present, even though they had won this battle. The defenders knew they needed to regroup and plan their next steps. Linda suggested, "We should send out scouting teams to find out where the aliens are retreating. If we can locate them, we can keep the pressure on." The team quickly agreed. They divided into small groups, and each squad set off to gather information about the aliens' movements. Marcus took charge of one group, eager to track down any remaining enemy forces. "Let's find out what they're planning," he said. "If we can catch them off guard again, we might finish this once and for all." As the scouts ventured out, the defenders began to assess the damage to their city. The destruction was severe, with buildings crumbling and streets littered with debris. Many homes were lost, and the community had to come together to start rebuilding. Sarah knew they had to focus on restoring their home. "We've shown we can fight, now we need to show we can rebuild," she said to her team. The defenders organized a massive cleanup effort. Everyone pitched in, clearing debris, salvaging materials, and helping those who had lost their homes. The community spirit was strong, and neighbors came together, sharing supplies and support. As they worked, they talked about their hopes for the future, and laughter began to fill the air again. Days turned into weeks, and slowly the city started to heal. The defenders not only rebuilt buildings, but also strengthened their bonds. They shared meals, laughter, and stories, becoming a close-knit family. Sarah and her team became local heroes, and people looked up to them for inspiration and guidance. Meanwhile, the scouting teams reported back with valuable information. They had located several alien camps still operating on the outskirts of the city. Marcus and Linda analyzed the data, realizing that the aliens were not prepared for another assault. "This is our chance to push them out for good," Marcus said, his eyes shining with determination. As they finalized their plans, the defenders prepared for one more push against the aliens. They trained harder than ever, combining their skills and knowledge. They crafted new weapons and traps, refining their strategies based on what they had learned in the previous battles. Everyone was excited and anxious, knowing this could be the decisive moment. Finally, the day arrived. With renewed energy, the defenders set out to face the aliens one last time. As they marched together, Sarah felt a mix of fear and hope. "Remember why we fight," she reminded them. "We fight for our families, our friends, and our home. We are stronger together." The defenders cheered, their spirits high as they approached the alien camps.